Hi everyone, welcome back to the Stitches and Scribbles channel. My name is Erin, and today I'm here to talk to you about all the crafty things I've been up to in the last month or so, depending on when I last filmed. I actually have some finished objects to show you that I'm really excited about. So, I have those. I have a couple of things in progress. I have a couple of projects that I frogged that we'll talk about. I have this thing behind me. I always lean the wrong way. My advent calendar back there, and yeah, just lots of holiday crafty things to discuss. So let's start with finished objects first. So the first one, if you've been watching my channel, you would have seen this already, but it is the pattern for the scrap vent cowl, and this is a tutorial here on my channel that also relates to my advent calendar back there. But it is one of the bandana cowls that I've made a couple variations of at this point, designed to use with scrap yarn. This of course isn't scrap yarn. I just picked a very stripy yarn in order to give it the look I wanted. Go ahead and pop that on even over my other scarf so that you can see kind of what it looks like, but it generally creates this kind of bunchy bandana cowl that's super easy to wear, can poke out of the front of a winter coat for a pop of color, and no scarf ends to manage, but kind of gives the look of wearing a shawl as a scarf, which I really like. I am planning on continuing my cowl kind of series that I have going here on YouTube by continuing to make crochet ones, but I'm hoping to also do some knit ones in 2025, so you can look forward to that. The next thing that I finally finished was, oh, I just have like random stuff under here. That's fun. I finally finished my 6-day star blanket. It did not take me 6 days. It took way longer than that. I'm going to leave it folded in half, so you're only going to see half of it. But this is what it looks like. It's so big I can't show it on camera. I am still unclear what exactly happened, but I have gotten the sense through TikTok that there's now some drama with this pattern. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where to find what's going on, but I got the impression that the creator of the pattern did something unkind online. Let's kind of leave it at that. So if you're looking into making this pattern, I thought the pattern was fine. I saw some people online said that it was hard to read and they were having trouble with it. But I guess just be aware of that if you go to look for it. I don't know what's happening. All of a sudden my TikTok blew up with people referencing that there was drama about the 6-day star blanket, but I can't actually find what it is. So if you know, leave it in the comments. I'm curious at this point. But I have a finished 6-day star blanket that I'll probably drape over the back of my couch for winter because it's blue and green and sparkly. I think I probably could have done it in the 6-day timeline if I worked on it consistently, but I kind of got towards the end and then just lost momentum. I also made mine, I believe, bigger than the original pattern calls for because I was trying to use up random skeins of yarn, which I did do very successfully. I used a lot of yarn for that. But yeah, that ta-da blanket. That's kind of all I have to say about that one. The next thing that I finished was a pair of socks that I will be gifting for Christmas. These were made with, did I talk about these last month? Suddenly I'm holding them up and remembering that I talked about the yarn pooling. I think I talked about these already, so I guess these are not finished. They're just in my pile of things I need to wrap for Christmas. This is another pair of socks that I need to find a spot for. So I guess I only have 2 finished objects. I thought I had more for some reason. That's kind of odd. Whatever. It's just been one of those months. I am a school librarian in my professional life now. So this was our book fair month. This was a lot of school events are happening. It's just been a little bit chaotic. Chaotic in a good way. It's a very fun, joyful energy. But I feel like my brain has just been fried for a couple weeks. Like, the 5 days we got off for Thanksgiving break did not make a dent in my brain fog. So it's going to be a fun 3 weeks of December. I guess now only 2.5 weeks before school lets out for break from the day I'm filming this. I'm filming this on December 4th, just so you're aware, which is a Wednesday. So after this week, I only have 2 full weeks left before Christmas break, I think. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Let's get back to the crafty stuff, which is why you're all here. I did frog a couple of projects this month, or partially frog a couple of projects. And it was one of those things where I was sad that I frogged it, but I frogged it because I now know more about what I prefer as someone who wears knit and crochet pieces, but also because I've gotten better at some things. So I probably should have waited and showed you what I was going to frog before actually frogging it, but I got impatient. If you recognize this yarn, this is Earth Yarns. I forget what color it is. I got it from a local yarn store in St. Louis, but I had purchased this because it's my alma mater colors, and also my current school's colors. And it's really hard to find blue and yellow yarn that doesn't also have another color in it. So I was really excited when I found this. I crocheted an infinity scarf right away, but I did the scarf probably in a hook size too big, and it was too long because I wanted to use up both skeins of yarn and get through the entire color rotation on both of them. So I had to loop it around 3 times to wear it. It was kind of too thin and like stretched out. So I frogged the whole thing, and I think I'm gonna try to make some sort of a bandana cowl with this, but make it bigger. I will probably also do it in knit and have it be kind of chunkier around the neck, so it's more of a neck warmer than decorative, if that makes any sense at all. But I am excited to use this yarn again. I really liked watching how the colors worked out last time, so doing it in a different shape I think will be interesting. But I frogged that. And then the other project I partially frogged is also my school colors and alma mater colors. This one I did a vlog where I was crocheting in my garage during a garage sale, and this one I frogged because I think I made it the wrong size the first time. I had the neck loop be too big, but this is the first version, like practice version I worked on of the Halloween cowl, which is also a tutorial on my channel. But you start all of those cowl styles with a triangle piece, and I made my triangle piece too big. So then when I put it around my neck, it hung really, really low in the front, and I didn't really want that. So I frogged it back to the correct size for the triangle, and then I'll just need to add this on in rows. So again, kind of sad to frog it because I did really like the colors. It was also the second time I had frogged that yarn for that project, but I love the yarn so much that I really want it to be a piece that I love that it's used in, which is why I just keep redoing it again and again. That was a mini set from, I believe it was Emma's Yarn, and it was a special color collection made for Milwaukee. So I want it to be perfect if I'm gonna use it. Yeah, those are my frogged projects. Talking about the big project behind me, the advent calendar. So if you haven't been following on my channel, my primary project for December, and the one I've been actively working on other than that stuff that I just finished or frogged, has been my actual scrap vent cowl. So the pink and turquoise and yellow cowl I showed you before was the test piece and the tutorial piece for the scrap vent cowl pattern, but now I'm actually making it using my advent calendar. So my advent calendar, what I did is, this is actually an old advent calendar that had scented candles in it from Aldi. And back in June, I took all of my sock yarn weight scraps and put them out in kind of a fade order, and then put them in the boxes in that number order. So I just made sure that I had 25 different scrap colors to work with, and then rolled them into ball sizes that would fit in the little boxes. There were a couple that were too big that I split and then it got to be a surprise when I opened them because I don't remember what I put in there. But I have been working on it for a while now. As I said previously, it's December 4th, but I decided I wanted to do a video each day in lieu of doing full Vlogmas vlogs. I decided to just do my scrap vent cowl as kind of my Vlogmas this year. So I have been working on that, but I'm working several days ahead, mostly because I knew that my school schedule would be kind of chaotic. There's also several weekends with holiday parties that we're going to. So I actually have worked through, I believe it's day 12 now, which when you're seeing this will be past day 12, so it doesn't matter. There's no spoilers. But I am going to show my scrap vent cowl, so if you've been watching the shorts and don't want to spoil it, I guess skip ahead. I don't think that that's going to bother anybody. Gonna pull that loop nice and big so I don't accidentally unravel. But this is what my scrap vent cowl looks like so far. And honestly, this is big enough right now that it could almost be done, but I want to get a lot of colors in there and finish out the fade. So this is probably about half the colors that I'll have. Yeah, if we're at 12 out of 25, it's close to half. But it started with this charcoal black, then we got a tonal navy, a kind of purplish royal blue, two different shades of royal blue. One has those pops of white, one's a little dustier. Then I have a blue tonal, or not blue tonal, a blue variegated yarn, a light blue, a turquoise, a kind of white and light blue variegated, a blue and green variegated, a light green, and then a different light green that I'm working on now. So if I remember correctly, this does end up working through pretty much in rainbow order. I held that up to my eye and I must have gotten fiber in my eye because suddenly it's very itchy. But if I remember correctly, actually, no, I don't know what color I end with. I know that I did something weird with the rainbow order. I forget if it was that I both started and ended with black, or if I have more purple towards the end. I did something funky with it just because of the colors that I happen to have in my scraps, but I really don't remember what it was. So I guess it'll just be a surprise for everybody. But if you're interested in seeing that on a daily basis, I have been posting it as shorts here on YouTube, as well as posting it to my TikTok. But that's kind of the only project I've been working on. I have a pair of socks that I'm working on as a Christmas present, but I know you've already seen those. They're like the brown and orange and gray ones that I've been working on. And those, I think, are actually in my car because I took them to work on at an event and I think they're still out there. So I should probably finish those at some point. I did want to kind of talk about wrapping up the year and doing gifts for knitting and some things that I said I was going to do earlier in the year that I didn't end up doing. All that good stuff. We'll just wrap it up here. So the first thing that I remember saying way earlier in 2024 was that I was going to knit a pair of socks for every single family member for Christmas. That did not happen. I only made socks for certain members of my family. If you are someone I exchange gifts with at Christmas, please don't listen for the next 10 seconds. You have been warned. I ended up only making socks for my in-laws this year, which was only 3 people. And that was a much more doable way to do this. I also didn't know that I would be starting back at work full-time when I decided I was going to make socks for everybody, which would have been like 10 pairs of socks to make. And I don't like working on the same project all the time. That's also why my Taylor Swift sock series kind of fell off the rails a little bit. I think I just got burned out on socks, and then on top of being burned out by socks, I went back to work full time. So I didn't have as many days where I could just like pull up a comfort show on TV or an audiobook and just plug away at projects. That became not an option for me anymore. So I think now I have a better balance of planning what projects I film for YouTube versus what I was doing before, where YouTube was all I was doing. Which is funny that I was thinking that way, because I was long-term subbing pretty much full-time starting in October of last year. So I had some adjustment time, but it's definitely different now being like an actual full-time employee versus a long-term sub. So I've had to kind of readjust my goals as I go in order to account for that change. In general, I think if you are someone who wants to make the same gift item for everyone in your family, socks are a pretty good one. For me, each pair of socks takes between 10 and 15 hours depending on the pattern, which if you work on socks like for an hour every night and then add a couple hours on the weekend, you could do a pair of socks in a week, or even in 2 weeks if you want to. So if you have, what would that math be? Fewer than 25 people you're making presents for and you're content with knitting socks the whole year, then go for it. Like, it's a great project to do. I would not recommend doing that if you're someone who gets burned out doing the same project over and over again, or just don't have the time to dedicate to that, because 10 to 15 hours for a single gift is still a really big time commitment. I would go for something more like a hat, because hats generally don't take as long. They have fewer points where you have to pay attention to your stitches if you're just doing it in all stockinette. I also would recommend doing something in a bulky yarn if you're going to do kind of mass gift knitting or gift crocheting. I think if I could do this over again, I would do slipper socks for everybody in like a really bulky yarn, but that's also, not everybody wears slipper socks. I guess not everybody wears wool socks either, but standard socks seemed a little bit more universal to me than slipper socks when I made that choice originally. But to summarize, I both did not make my 10 pairs of socks for family members, nor did I finish my pair of Taylor Swift socks for every album. I will be finishing that project, or that series of projects, going into 2025, but I let myself take a nice long break from it, and now have planned out to do a pair like every other month, and also not make socks as Christmas gifts, or at least not as many this year. I'll just do it in like chunks of family members, where maybe like 3 people get a pair of socks every year or something like that. But yeah, going into 2025, I feel like my goal is just to continue creating here on YouTube, because I don't want to give that up, even though I have been working full-time since August now in my current position. So you'll probably see more tutorials than vlogs from me. With vlogs, I have a tendency to pick projects that are too big and try to get them done too fast, like sweaters, whole pairs of socks, like big amigurumi projects. And I want things to be more manageable. So I'm really going to try to focus on things that can be done in a day, things where the whole tutorial will take me like less than 5 hours to complete. So you'll probably see a lot of like beginner level tutorials from me, beginner to intermediate, coming to this channel, which seems like that's what you guys as viewers like anyway. So I'm excited to pursue that. I also will be starting a series in January called I Spent a Day, which I know that that's not a unique way of phrasing a vlog, but I'm basically trying to show people reasonably what you can get done in a day if you are working on a particular craft project. So I think the first one for January was I spent a day making friendship bracelets, and I say was because I actually filmed it back in like July or August, I think, maybe even June, because I was trying to pre-film stuff over the summer. So I have a couple of those ready to go, but it's exactly what it sounds like. The goal is to show you what you can reasonably get done in a day. I tell you how long I spent on things. I also was really conscious while making the first couple episodes of that series to not do too much if real life stuff came up. So I think there's one where I didn't end up being able to work on it the whole day, so I continued it the next day, but still like kept the timing about the same, stuff like that. So we're looking for reasonable vlogs and fun, easy tutorials in 2025 is kind of the goal there. So that's what you can expect from me going into the new year. At the time you're seeing this, we're getting really close to the Christmas season, if that's what you celebrate. So if you do celebrate, Merry Christmas. I hope you had a prayerful Advent, if that is how you celebrate that holiday. And if you celebrate something else, I hope you're still having a good time with whatever you celebrate. That's going to be it for this podcast. And I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do a video in the last week of December. It's probably just going to depend on how much chaos continues the rest of this month. So there could be a video for me next week, but I might skip a week in order to give myself some rest time during this holiday season. So if you don't see a video from me next week, that's what's going on there. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw today, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below so that you can be notified of all my videos right here on YouTube. And if you'd like to follow me on other social media sites, that information will be in the description box below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.